Most people believe understanding women is about learning the right words, the right behavior, or the right timing, but the truth is far deeper than that. Attraction doesn't begin with strategy, it begins with emotional perception. If you've ever felt confused, frustrated, or unsure why connection fades even when effort is present, it's not because you're doing nothing. It's because you're focusing on the surface instead of the psychology beneath it. In this video, we're not talking about tricks or tactics. We're exploring how emotional experience, consistency, and awareness shape what women truly respond to. Understanding what women want begins with a fundamental psychological shift, moving away from logical effort and toward emotional experience. Many people believe attraction is built through visible actions such as giving attention, offering help, or saying the right things at the right time. While these behaviors may appear meaningful on the surface, they only carry value when they create a positive internal emotional response. Women are generally more responsive to how an interaction feels rather than how much effort is invested. If effort does not translate into emotional comfort, safety, or understanding, it often goes unnoticed or even feels burdensome. This is why individuals can do everything right and still fail to create connection. The missing element is emotional attunement. Emotional experience operates beneath conscious awareness. It is shaped by tone, timing, presence, and consistency. When a woman feels emotionally regulated around someone, her nervous system interprets that person as safe. Safety does not mean predictability in behavior alone. It means predictability in emotional response. Calmness under pressure, patience during disagreement, and attentiveness without intrusion all contribute to this sense of security. When someone reacts impulsively, seeks constant reassurance, or tries to force emotional outcomes, it disrupts this balance and creates subtle discomfort. Over time, that discomfort overrides any logical appreciation for effort. Another important factor is emotional validation. Women often want their feelings acknowledged rather than analyzed or corrected. When emotions are dismissed, minimized, or immediately solved, it communicates emotional distance. On the other hand, when feelings are recognized and accepted without judgment, it strengthens emotional trust. This does not require agreement, it requires presence. Presence is demonstrated through listening without interruption, responding without defensiveness, and allowing emotional space without pressure. These behaviors signal emotional intelligence, which is far more influential than surface-level charm or persistence. Attraction also depends on emotional pacing. Rushing emotional closeness often creates resistance, while allowing connection to unfold naturally builds comfort. Emotional patience shows self-control and confidence, both of which contribute to a grounded emotional environment. When someone is focused on managing their own emotional state rather than trying to control another person's response, interactions feel lighter and more authentic. This authenticity creates resonance, and resonance is what sustains attraction. Ultimately, women respond most strongly to emotional consistency. Small, repeated emotional experiences shape perception far more than grand gestures. When someone consistently makes interactions feel respectful, calm, and emotionally clear, desire develops organically, not because of effort alone, but because the emotional experience itself becomes something worth returning to. Consistency between identity and behavior is one of the most powerful psychological signals in attraction. When words, actions, and emotional energy align over time, they create trust at a subconscious level. Women are especially sensitive to this alignment because inconsistency creates uncertainty, and uncertainty triggers emotional withdrawal. It is not the intensity of behavior that matters, but its reliability. Someone who behaves predictably in character, values, and emotional responses becomes psychologically safe, and safety is the foundation upon which attraction can deepen. Confidence is often misunderstood as assertiveness or dominance, but from a psychological perspective, it is emotional steadiness. A confident individual does not need to perform, impress, or constantly prove worth. Their sense of self remains stable regardless of external validation. This emotional stability communicates maturity and self-respect, both of which are deeply attractive. When someone's behavior fluctuates depending on mood, attention, or approval, it creates confusion rather than connection. Consistency signals that a person knows who they are and is comfortable standing in that identity. Trust develops when behavior matches intention over time. Empty promises, exaggerated self-presentation, or emotional inconsistency erode attraction even if they are subtle. Women often assess trust not through isolated actions but through patterns. How someone handles stress, disappointment, or disagreement reveals far more than how they behave during moments of harmony. Emotional regulation during difficult situations demonstrates inner strength. Reactivity, defensiveness, or withdrawal under pressure signals emotional instability, which weakens long-term attraction. Authenticity plays a critical role in this process. Trying to maintain a false persona requires emotional effort and inevitably leads to inconsistency. Over time, the gap between who someone claims to be and how they behave becomes apparent. Authentic behavior, even when imperfect, creates coherence. Coherence allows others to relax emotionally because there is no need to anticipate sudden shifts in tone or intention. This relaxed emotional state fosters deeper connection. Another important element is self-direction. Individuals who have purpose, boundaries, and a clear sense of direction tend to act consistently because their behavior is guided by internal values rather than external reactions. Women are often drawn to this internal stability because it reduces emotional unpredictability. When someone's emotional state is not dependent on constant reassurance or attention, interactions feel balanced rather than pressured. Over time, consistent identity and behavior create a sense of emotional reliability. Reliability builds trust, trust builds comfort, and comfort allows attraction to grow naturally. This process is gradual but powerful, shaping perception, not through isolated moments, but through sustained emotional clarity and alignment. Curiosity and emotional maturity form the foundation of meaningful connection because they shift interaction away from control and toward understanding. Genuine curiosity is not about asking questions to achieve an outcome. It is about a sincere interest in another person's inner world. Women tend to feel most comfortable and connected when they sense that they are being understood rather than evaluated. When curiosity is present, conversations feel open instead of interrogative, and attention feels attentive rather than demanding. This emotional openness allows trust to develop organically without pressure or performance. Emotional maturity is reflected in how someone responds, not just in what they say. It involves the ability to sit with emotions without becoming overwhelmed or dismissive. When a woman expresses thoughts or feelings, an emotionally mature response does not rush to defend, correct, or dominate the exchange. Instead, it creates space. This space communicates respect and emotional intelligence. Being able to acknowledge feelings without absorbing them or reacting impulsively demonstrates inner balance, which contributes to emotional safety. Listening plays a central role in this process. Many people listen with the intent to reply, solve, or redirect the conversation. Emotional maturity requires listening to understand. This type of listening picks up on tone, pauses, and emotional context rather than focusing only on words. When someone feels heard at this level, it creates a sense of validation that strengthens connection. Validation does not mean agreement, it means recognition. This distinction is crucial because it allows honest expression without fear of judgment or conflict. Another important aspect is the ability to manage conflict calmly. Disagreements are inevitable in any human interaction, but how they are handled determines emotional closeness. Emotionally mature individuals do not escalate tension or withdraw completely when discomfort arises. They remain present, grounded, and respectful. This consistent emotional availability during difficult moments builds trust because it shows that connection does not disappear under pressure. Respect for boundaries is also a key expression of emotional maturity. Understanding when to engage and when to step back demonstrates self-awareness and consideration. Women often interpret boundary respect as a sign of emotional security and confidence. When someone does not push for reassurance, attention, or emotional access, it communicates independence and self-respect. This absence of pressure allows connection to grow naturally. Over time, curiosity combined with emotional maturity creates an environment where authenticity feels safe. In that environment, attraction deepens not through effort or persuasion, but through mutual emotional ease and understanding. When you stop trying to figure women out and start understanding how emotional connection actually works, clarity replaces confusion. Attraction becomes less about effort and more about presence, less about chasing and more about emotional alignment. Psychology doesn't give you control over others, but it gives you control over how you show up. And when you show up with awareness, stability, and curiosity, connection forms naturally. If this perspective changed the way you think, take it with you, reflect on it, and let understanding guide your interactions instead of assumption.